Hello! Thank you for coming to this video today, guys. This is the Cardano Aura episode 5. It's going to be a really good one. We actually had Josh from Proof of Africa on with his proposal, ABCD. It was a really good podcast. The reason this podcast isn't live is I'm trying something new. I may do some of the podcasts not live, maybe do a little bit of editing, a little bit of pizzazz in between them. And also he had some connection issues. Just from United States to Africa, there were some latency issues, so sometimes he would cut out. And then by me editing that, it kind of made it a nice, cleaner episode, So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you do, make sure you leave a like on this video. Click that notification bell. It should be about right here. That'll help me out greatly. And then also commenting down below. It means so much. The other way that you can support me is delegating to Bloom and Bloom 2. We have a 2.5 million pledge to secure the network from Sybil attacks. We also have over 3,000 delegates, so you can see a lot of people in this ecosystem already trust Bloom. The other thing you can do is actually download the Brave browser. The Brave browser is awesome. It blocks ads and the trackers within those ads, and it keeps your data. They're not collecting as much data on you, which is awesome. And the final thing, if you guys want to build your own stake pool and you would like some help with it, some consultation, or you would like someone to maintain and run your pool for you, feel free to contact me at peyton@bloompool.io. Yeah, let's jump into the video. How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show today, man. Really appreciate it.
It's no problem, man. Yeah, we've been trying to set this up for a little bit, and I'm excited that we finally got it working. And I'm really excited to hear about your proposal.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really excited to be here.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is I wanted you to introduce yourself a little bit. I think that's kind of like really imperative information for your proposal,
Yeah, okay, sure. Thank you so much. First of all, my name is Joshua Akpan. I'm a Cardano ambassador. I became a Cardano ambassador way back in 2018. That was 2 years ago. But, to give you more, insight, I actually got involved in the blockchain scene in 2017, where I found out about, actually got pretty involved in the crypto ecosystem. And that was around the first time I actually bought my first cryptocurrency. At the time it was an ICO. It was Electroneum. So, watching that coin just rise, and it actually just, made me stay. But I found out about Cardano in 2018, and I immediately fell in love with Cardano because it actually had, first of all, it was a proof of stake blockchain, and for me in Africa, seeing that we can actually have records on the blockchain, especially with things like Cardano solving things like land registry, and land registry is actually a big problem in Africa. I saw that as a problem that I relate to, and so that kind of made me come into the ecosystem proper to learn more. And obviously I like every other person, I watched the Charles Hoskinson whiteboard presentation.
Yeah,
and
the old classic.
Yeah, the classic. Yeah, immediately fell in love with Cardano, and then it's a pretty interesting story. When I actually started knowing more about blockchain technology and Cardano especially, I started getting my friends together and teaching them about blockchain technology, and they had no idea what I was talking about because there's actually nothing to actually relate blockchain to. It's actually a new and nascent technology, and it was new to me as well. So I was very crazy about it. I had friends coming from different states in Nigeria to actually join. We had people.
Hey, stop for 1 second. About 7 seconds just cut out, so just go ahead and repeat kind of that last whole topic, like not the whole topic, but really just like the last 20 seconds.
Okay, so I got involved in the Cardano ecosystem by when I saw Charles Hoskinson's whiteboard presentation, and I immediately fell in love with Cardano, and then I got actually inspired to motivated to actually start teaching people about blockchain technology and Cardano specifically, because it actually solves our most of our problems, record problems in Africa. Africa is actually not poor. We're just, it's just mismanaged. So we can actually solve that problem by actually introducing a system that manages, all the centralized systems that have been set up by the government, which incentivizes corruption. And so I started teaching people about Cardano. I didn't really know much about it, but the little I actually understood, I would gather like a lot of people, a lot of my guys, and then, we just get a space and then we just talk about, just talk about cryptocurrencies, talk about blockchain, talk about Bitcoin, talk about Ethereum, and then introduce them to Cardano. And I held meetups with over 20 people, 30 people, sometimes, 40 people. And, that's pretty much how I got, into the Cardano ecosystem. And then back then, I actually entered the forum and I posted pictures of what I was doing. I really didn't know there was like an ambassador position or things like that. But I just got, basically, I was made a Cardano ambassador in Africa, Nigeria precisely. And from then on, I've been in this space. So what happened was, last year I met a fellow ambassador, Max, and you know around like July when we were talking, and I thought, because in the meetups I hold for Cardano, uh, I actually use my own funds to actually make sure these meetups hold. So it wasn't sustainable for me, because at some point I was running out of money, because I would actually give them cryptocurrencies just so they can relate with it, so they can
Yeah,
understand what it's
that's what
about.
I do
Most
here
of them,
too for all of my new friends and family that are getting into it. I send them a nice $10 ADA, like, here you go, here's your new Year wallet, so I know where
yeah,
you're coming from, and
exactly.
especially with running out of money eventually. I know exactly where you're coming from was with the YouTube channel. I started doing this, I want to say, a year ago, and I was funding all of this out of pocket during the ITN. I funded my whole stake pool out of pocket, so I know exactly where you're coming from in that regard. So we just had a little bit of a breakup in the audio connection right there. So I just wanted to do one little clip for our sponsor. This will be the last ad in this video, and I really do appreciate your guys' support. So our sponsor today was Alien Stake Pool. It's a Cardano stake pool with ticker Alien. Big shout out to them. The sponsoring this channel really helps me out, and it really helps me continue to make these videos. So big shout out to Alien Stake Pool. The link to their ADA pools will actually be at the first link in the description down below. So make sure you guys check it out. And thank you guys again. I really appreciate it.
That was a great lag. I'm sorry. You'd have to go back again.
Oh, it's no worries. What did you miss? Most of it?
I think you're talking about your experience. Yeah, most of the experience in distributing data to your guests.
Okay. Yeah, so I know exactly where you're coming from in regard to just funding that and worried about running out of money eventually with my YouTube channel and also my stake pool, So I just see completely where you're coming from as far as doing those meetups. And I do the same thing when I get new people interested in Cardano. Is I set them up a Yoroi wallet and send them some ADA in it, so.
Yeah, awesome. But the interesting thing about actually talking to people about Cardano or cryptocurrency is, you find out that part of the reason why they don't actually understand cryptocurrencies, there are actually two reasons. Well, first of all, um, the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin were actually introduced in Africa through Ponzi schemes. So it's really hard to try to convince them and make them understand that it is not a Ponzi scheme, because their first introduction to cryptocurrencies were through Ponzi schemes, where they take it was crazy. So first of all, you have to change their mind about what it actually is, and then secondly, uh, most young people in Africa, we don't really have, let's say, financial education. So you find yourself teaching people what money actually is, and then after that, you have to teach them what sound money actually is. So it's a whole different experience, actually.
So
Try
is that
to
more of a
onboard
recent
people.
thing? Like the Ponzi scheme for cryptocurrencies in Africa, is that like something within the last 10 years, or was that before Bitcoin came out?
I mean, Ponzi scheme has been here forever.
Yeah.
It's been here for a longer time. But they started, like as a payment. for their platforms. They started using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin, and then that's how people got to know about it. So I got to know about Bitcoin way back in 2016, and it was through like the Ponzi scheme. I hear people talk about Ponzi schemes when they talk about Bitcoin. It was synonymous, So
Hmm.
I only started doing my research in 2017, and that's when I actually bought into an ICO. That was my first buy. Um, but so if I meet any other person and talk to them about cryptocurrency, the first thing that comes to their mind naturally is just a Ponzi scheme. So you have to, you know, clear that out of their mind before you actually introduce, what you're trying to say to them. And then you find yourself actually teaching them what money actually is. And I don't even come from like a financial background, but from my little research, I could actually give them like, start defining what money is, and then you introduce to them what sound money is, and that's what we're dealing with. So it's a whole lot of education to do, and that's part of the reason why we created POA. So, and I don't know if you know about POA, Proof of Africa. So what Proof of Africa is, I and Max started Proof of Africa. It's supposed to be a stable power adoption driver. So like I said earlier, I couldn't. It
Um,
wasn't
it
sustainable for
was it was
me.
supposed to be what? It was a stake pool.
A stable powered adoption driver. That's how we
Okay.
termed it. But basically, yeah. So basically, we're supposed to sponsor our activities, especially education and meetups in Africa, with the proceeds from our state of Africa. So, so that's why we created Proof of Africa. So I met Max last year and I talked to him about it, and we're just thinking about it. Was just an idea, and he's not like a developer. I'm not a developer. We have no experience, writing codes or whatever. But we're just passionate about the same thing, which is pushing the knowledge of blockchain technology, and especially Cardano down in Africa. So from then on, we went on to actually take part in the incentivized testnet, and part of what we do actually for the community, not just for Africa, actually, is to provide guides. So we provided guides in the incentivized testnet, also the Haskell testnet, also for the Haskell mainnet. So, and we
Yeah,
also
I've seen the
participate
guides
in the Pioneer.
specifically for the Haskell testnet. I always like to look at all the
Right.
different guides and see if there's anything about Linux that I haven't learned yet. And I did learn a bit from your guides, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. We watched the videos as well. I watched the videos, even though I really didn't understand a lot, but I watched it just to get an idea because I'm
Hmm.
not coming from technical background, and the way you kind of like you explain like basically everything like to like a layman, so it was pretty cool seeing that from you. Really good work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm
So
glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, and that was kind of my goal with
yeah,
it. I think one of the first things I taught was typing ls to view all the files, and then make a directory. That was kind of the audience I was trying to target was, okay, this is how you use Linux at a very basic perspective, and then now that you know that, you can learn from there. Because that initial hump to me, and I think to a lot of others, is the hardest one to get over. And once you get over that, you're smooth sailing.
right, right. I remember like for other people trying to use that because we have a stake pool called Zoe Pool that came up is also an African pool, but she used our that's April. She used our guides, but sometimes she also watch your videos and go through what you do just to because she's coming from like a law background. She's a law student and she has no technical background whatsoever. So she would watch to understand the terms, the meaning, and then go to the guide too. So, having all that material out there, or resources for the community actually helped, in creating more stake one, getting more people on board into, the Shelley mainnet and actually creating polls. That's part of the reason why we have so many polls, because there was a lot of materials out there to actually help people to learn and understand how to create a stake pool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's a really big reason why we have so many pools. And then I think a second reason is how good the node software is. Just the fact that even without a lot of experience, once you get your node up, it'll stay up. It's not going to crash like it did during the ITN. And like there is some things you have to do to kind of make sure it's being the best node it can be. But so I really do commend IOHK for that, and that's a big part of there being so many pools and then also resources, like you said.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So yeah, I don't. Can I introduce the project right now?
Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, that's a
Um,
yeah, that's just that's a
I
good
will just,
introduction to you, though. I really
okay.
appreciate it.
No problem, man. So basically, I actually I saw this post about like Cardano project Catalyst actually, and I thought, okay, cool, let me join them because we actually had this idea for ABC, which is my project on Cardano idea scale for Catalyst project Catalyst. So it's like a spin-off from POA. So ABCD is supposed to be because we have like I was saying about having like meetups in Africa. So what happened was we had like a lot of developers come in, like, hey, how can I be part of this? How can I build on Cardano? Because they already knew about Ethereum, but the Ethereum was not scalable. So we had developers that are actually talented, they want to do something on Cardano, but they can't really, they don't know how to go about it. And some of them don't really have like the materials or the resources. Some of them they don't have like good laptops and stuff like that. So we thought, okay, cool, why not create like a center and have these people come to the center and then we train them. So that's like, so it's like a spin-off of POA since we've established that, and we're trying to like do more for developers and also businesses, because we have some businesses, some startups that would come to our meetups and then talk about how they would like to onboard to Cardano. And we felt, I think it would be more, it makes sense to actually incubate these guys and then help them grow and watch their project actually develop into a blockchain business or a blockchain startup, and build the solutions they want to build for Africa.
Hmm.
So that's how it came about. So in a nutshell, ABCD is a center for developers, that will create opportunities for Africa by providing blockchain solutions for the world, by mobilizing the pool of talent, working remotely, on the continent to build solutions within the Cardano ecosystem for developers, also for startups and also enterprise and government as well. That's the whole idea around ABCD. So if you want to see why why are we doing this, well, we have to, if we really care about adoption of Cardano in Africa, because like I said earlier, we can teach people all we want about Cardano in Africa, but then it doesn't go as far as when we have solutions built by African developers for Africa, and that's how they can actually relate with Cardano, and actually that mass adoption that we're looking at for Africa.
Hmm.
Cardano in Africa. That's how they happen. If there are solutions built and these people start using the solution, that's how to get mass adoption.
Yeah, and I honestly
Many people
feel
don't
that's how you
understand.
solve African problems as African developers. It's I think it's naive to think that someone in a different country can know the problems that you're facing and know how to fix them.
Exactly. I mean, we know our problems, we know the pain points, we know what we need to get done, so no one else can actually build that problem for us except us. So, and that's like kind of like the backbone of what we're building. We want to let people that understand, the continent and know what the problems are. We want those people to build solutions, and we want to give them the tool, or we want to incubate them or give them the materials they need to build solutions to solve the problems we have in Africa. That's why we're building ABCD in a nutshell. So exactly. So that's the whole deal.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So a couple questions. So as far as you're saying you're providing a place for people to, so you said that a lot of people don't have laptops, and people that want to be developers don't have access to these resources. Will you guys be charging for these resources? So say I wanted to actually come and it got funded and you guys started building this and it was all put together, what do I have to pay to get the education from you guys?
So right now we actually interview like a lot of developers, and both female and male developers, and we're actually incentivizing them to learn and build their skill to build the solution. So right now we are handpicking like the best developers. So they're not actually paying. We are actually going to like pay them to actually learn and build these solutions. So they are not paying, and we're just handpicking the best for them.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I misunderstood that. I thought that specifically you were looking for people that didn't have much developing experience, and then you were going to teach them to then work towards to do the solutions.
No, no, no. Okay, because for the challenge we have in Fund Two, how do we get how do we get like businesses or entrepreneurs and developers to build on Cardano? If we get like amateurs to start learning Malo right now, is they'll have to start learning how to actually be like JavaScript developers, Python, and all that before. But we want to have people that are already good at what they do, and then to be easier and seamless for them to transition, learn these things, this technology, and to be faster for us to solve, the challenge for the fund within 6 months and have, good results and get to the target of what we're doing faster. And
Yeah.
then so when we grow further and expand, we can actually have uh, should I say, spaces for other people like junior developers to learn, and harness the skill better. But right now, it's not for junior developers. Right now, it's for people that actually know their stuff. It's easier actually to solve the problem, the challenge that we have. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And if you were starting from kind of square one for people that didn't have any developing experience, you wouldn't have really the solutions that you're looking for in a reasonable amount of time, you know. So yeah, I see completely where you're coming
Totally.
from. So how much are you guys asking for from Catalyst, and is this the first time that you're getting funding, and will you look for funding more in the future?
So in total, we're asking for 335,000 ADA. That's around last time I checked. That was around 30K, $30,000, and we plan to achieve sustainability within a short time. So we may not be asking for funding, subsequently. Maybe we might ask for two or more, But right now, in a nutshell, we just ask for funding until we get sustainable. So we don't plan to keep coming back for funding because we're incubating these startups and we're going to have businesses, within our space. So we plan to utilize that as well to make us sustainable, basically.
Okay. So yeah. So you're looking for funding and then to move towards sustainability. Awesome.
Exactly.
So what problems do you see in Africa that are at the top of your mind that you would like to fix with these developers? And
Basically, right now, like I said, from the beginning, we have a lot of land issues. Like right now, literally, it's so bad that someone can just take your land. Just come to you and take your land, and there are no records to actually go through, and there are no, authentic records.
yeah,
People
so
can
they so
sell
like
lands
how
to
would they
you.
do that? Like forcibly? They can just forcibly take your land?
People forcibly take other people's land. Yes, that has happened a lot of times. And I mean, if I have more money than you, I can just make up anything, pay anybody, bribe anybody, and tell them it's my land. What are you going to do? There's nothing to run back to. So, but if these things are registered on blockchain and everybody can see who has the land actually, and then there's no point. You just solve that problem. So we want to solve land registry company problems, and like add to that, we already have companies, startups actually that want to do that. So this company called Lava Process, it's a real estate project that wants to solve land registry problem and also tokenize land properties in Africa. So they are called Lamba Bros. So these are the kind of companies we're looking to incubate within our space, to help them, until they get to sustainability, and also, coach and mentor them, how to go about that within our space.
Yeah, and from my perspective, We don't really have any land issues in the United States, but there are a lot of like minor issues that come from the current way that we do things. And what's really interesting to me is the fact that Africa can actually skip that step, right? You guys can go to
Totally.
land registry with NFTs and have a much more efficient and a much better system without having this middle phase that we have here. And you guys can do that not only more efficiently, but you can do it quicker, you know, and it's
Right. It's like the way we like totally. I mean, Africa has leapfrogged a lot of things, because of technology, like like mobile payments. We just own that, man, and that's what it means. That every part of Africa right now is like ripe for. That's how I put it. Every part of Africa is ripe for disruption. So if there's a viable technology, we're just going to leapfrog. What we're going to do right now with blockchain technology in the next 5 years, it's just going to be mind blowing because we can adapt to these technologies because they solve our problem directly, and it's easier for us to just move transition because every other thing doesn't work. So we are going to leapfrog, with blockchain technology for sure.
yeah, that's so interesting from my perspective, you know, because I feel like in the United States we're stuck. You know, there's a lot of just old things that are stuck that are going to be really hard to move and really it almost it feels there's no hope for change other than cryptocurrency, you know, and I feel that the currency will come before we get the other nice aspects of it, like land registry and maybe college degrees on a blockchain and stuff like that,
Right.
you know, because
Right.
in the future financial system, you know, you're going to have land registries on the blockchain to be able to get collateralized loans, you know, so
Right.
it's something that if we want this to progress, you know, we're going to need these our property as non-fungible tokens. And I don't know, just maybe it's a pessimistic perspective, but at least here I just don't see it happening anytime soon without some major disruptions, you know.
Right. Right. Well, it's going to happen actually eventually, and these are the kind of things we talk about on the Afrofin Lab podcast. Like for going back to your point regarding like like we don't have access to funding, like we don't have access to finances here in Africa. Why? Because most times we don't have uh, good identity solutions. Like we don't have identity, so you can't really give out money to someone that doesn't have a record, identity. So with blockchain technology, like we have like a dollar prism, we can actually have people's identity, and then it's easier for you to disburse funds, right? So um, these are the kind of things we want to see people want to have like a good identity system, but it's only one way we can have that is if it's built on the blockchain system, right? So
Mm.
we're looking at have some startups that we're talking to, and they're talking to us as well. Startups we're trying to incubate. Some of them are identity solution companies. Some of them are like real estate, I already said, and some of them want to do things like, esports, and some of them want to do even more. There's a project that wants to deal with incentivizing people to donate blood, and that's like a big issue in Africa, So these are the kind of things that actually affect lives directly, and we are really happy to actually have these people on board. That tells you what the big picture, what we're really trying to do with ABCD. It's not just okay, get people to develop on Cardano, but with Cardano, we can actually solve real problems, in Africa, and we just need to train people to actually learn how to solve this problem using the technology that's been made available to them. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know I keep harping on this, but this is just so interesting to me. Are there any other things besides, like you said, identity management, property management, blood, or any other things that you guys are looking at? Do you think that's a huge problem? Maybe, for example, we're having a lot of inflation here in the United States, you know, because of the lockdowns from the coronavirus. You know, one thing that a lot of people and a lot of businesses are worried about is hyperinflation, you know. So what other problems, if any?
I mean, okay, well, we're also looking at as there's also a startup that's dealing with agriculture, which is also like a big problem. So IHK is actually also doing that for Ethiopia, right? So we also have projects like that in Africa, uh, sorry, in Nigeria specifically. And Nigeria is actually the largest population in Africa. It has 200 million people. So if you're solving agricultural problem, you're really saving the nation, and
Hmm.
that's like a big deal here. So, to solve this kind of ideas we have when we think about creating like a center for developers to learn how to build the solutions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. I didn't know there was 200 million people that lived in Nigeria. And you said that's the biggest country in Africa?
Yes, that's the biggest. We are the largest by population.
Well, yeah, I mean, that almost, it's almost up to as there's like 300 million in the United States, so that's 2/3 of that. And I wouldn't have
Yeah.
expected it. Um, Oh, also, I wanted to mention that the podcast that he just talked about is going to be a link down below. So if you guys want to check out his podcast and get some more insights on Africa, then make sure you guys do click that link. Is that on YouTube?
Yes, on YouTube. You can just search in Afrofin Lab, one word, Afrofin Lab, and you find us.
Cool. Yep. And then I'll have that link down below. Um, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today? Anything else that you wanted to let the audience know about?
Well, there's been a lot of updates. I mean, coming from yesterday, my mind is like blown, from the updates from IHK.
Mm-hmm.
That's like really interesting. Thinking about like having ERC20 converter and native tokens within Cardano, and Charles talking about how that has like the same importance. And you know, I think he used the analogy of citizenship, but I'm not sure how he put it. But the point is, it has the same importance as Cardano does, and having to think about the fact that we can port other like tokens within Ethereum over to Cardano blockchain. That tells you how huge token is going to be. If you're not excited about Cardano, I mean, you need to start getting ready. I mean, it's no jokes, it's serious, and this is very interesting. These are the kind of things, the kind of updates that I hear about this project that it makes me really excited and actually very proud to represent Cardano and talk to people about it, because no other project is doing it like Cardano is doing it right now, and no other project comes close. So you know, if you're in doubt about Cardano, you just need to check out what they're doing behind the curtains, and look at these updates, and get excited for the future of Cardano.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing that I was thinking of is I really did enjoy that presentation. But if you were trying to solve these problems with the Ethereum blockchain, it would just be too expensive. I mean, even in the United States, I wanted to mess around with Ethereum a little bit to really see what's going on over there. I don't have any experience with dApp, so I just moved a little bit of ADA over there just to try it out. And I spent like an inordinate amount of money in fees just trying a couple things, just moving a couple other tokens around. And when you due to economies of scale, it's just putting land registry on the Ethereum blockchain would just be too expensive and not possible in many countries in Africa.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, it's not an option. No one's
Yeah.
gonna do it, right? No one wants to lose that kind of money. I think I saw one of the tweets where I think you said that, but I was just laughing like, we are not gonna try that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why if like Cardano is actually, in a sense, I said this a lot. In a sense, Cardano is built for Africa. If you think about it, right? Because it's seamless, it charges less fee, and then it's more scalable.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever ideas, whatever you want to build on the blockchain, it's like there's a world for you to do that allows it to be scalable, allows it to be seamless for other people to use, and that's Cardano.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that statement that Cardano is built for Africa. What led you to think that? Besides everything that we've talked about today, like how is Cardano specifically built for Africa? And I think Charles did have Africa in his mind a lot. And if you look back at the TED talk that he did, and then also the whiteboard video. I think Cardano was built for Africa, you know.
Right. Exactly. I mean, if you watch all the video, I mean, when I started like learning about Cardano, obviously I started watching like Charles's talks, some all the summits that he's been going to, and he always mentioned third world countries in Africa a lot, and he not just talked about it, he actually went down to Africa, Ethiopia, Rwanda, these countries, South Africa. He's seeing the problems, of third world countries, and he understands, and they have that in view when they're building what they're building for, for the blockchain ecosystem. They have Africa in mind. How is this going to allow for more people, that don't have like, identity issues or, identity management problem? How are we going to build something to actually have that managed in a better way, on the blockchain system? And he has Africa in mind, thinking about land registry here, we can't really have, land registry solutions on Ethereum. Blockchain is not scalable. So I feel like in his mind also, or in the developers' mind, they are thinking about, how they can have Africa come on board seamlessly when they're building these things. And because, like you said, you don't really have that problem. You don't have that. You don't even know what land registry problem is like. But we do have that problem. We see it every day. I mean, you just walk around in the streets in Africa and Nigeria, and you see like, some lands, and they have like signposts that says land is not for sale. Why do they have it there? Because if you don't have it there, someone's going to sell the land. So things like that. These are things
so that's what they do. They just sell the land. You'll have someone else that's presumably a bad actor that will just actually sell the property of someone else and then probably just run off with the money, right?
Exactly. That happens almost every other time.
So what does the person living there have, like, what securities do they have of the other person that's presumably moving in, what security do they have against that?
Well, usually, I mean, who's richer, I mean, so if you have more money, you're just going to fight for what's yours, right? Because like, you can't really trust, like, the systems they have set up. I mean, what if I bribe the judge? What if I bribe somebody? But with the blockchain, you don't have to bribe nobody. You don't have to trust nobody. You don't have to pay nothing to anybody. Yeah. Because it's just there.
Code is law,
Code is law, definitely. So definitely. So that's how I feel when talking about how Cardano is built specifically for Africa.
Yeah. I don't know, just something about that quote is beautiful, man. Cardano is built for Africa. I really like that. That's a good thing to end on. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, click that notification bell, and comment down below. Thank you so much for Josh for coming on. I think people are really going to enjoy this podcast, and I think you have a very inspiring story, and I'm excited to see what comes from ABCD. Make sure you guys check out the link down below. There'll be two links. There'll be the link to the Catalyst ABCD proposal, and there'll also be a link to his podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, no problem, man. I would like to have you on again in the future as ABCD progresses and as more comes out about it. I'm really interested in it. So, but I hope you guys all have a good weekend.
For sure.
Goodbye.